So we're going to continue on seeing how the biosphere, particularly human beings, negatively affect climate. And remember, we talked about climate being long-term weather patterns on the Earth, and we talked about various zones, the temperate, tropical, and polar zones. So what we're going to do in this lab is run a simulation. And this note right here, the first simulation we're going to run, is assuming that over the next 100 years that the human beings continue to burn fossil fuels with an increase of 1.5%, which is probably a very accurate assumption based on our current use. So how we're going to set up this simulation is first you go up here to Open Simulator. Once we open this simulator, we're going to see a lot of different forms in which carbon can be found. All of these gray boxes here are going to represent 25 gigatons. So for our purposes for this lab, just keep in mind that the gray boxes equals how much carbon is either in the soil, in the plants, in the air, or in the ocean. So what I mainly want to focus on in this lab is this number right here, the atmospheric carbon dioxide. Because we know once we burn fossil fuels, we make carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas. So we mainly want to focus on how much carbon dioxide we're putting into the atmosphere. So how you run this lab is very simple. So right here in the center, we have our parameters. So you'll notice right here, change in fossil fuel use per year. So again, like we said before, we're going to increase our fossil fuel usage by about 1.5%. This net deforestation rate means how much we're cutting down trees. We're going to, for this simulation, assume that it's staying exactly the same. We're not cutting down anymore. We're not planting any more trees. It's staying exactly the same. So how we're going to do this is we're going to run into the year 2100. So right here we can see in the year 2000, this is the current estimation or advice of where the fossil fuels, where the carbon is at this point. We're going to see if we fast forward it 100 years, how mainly this number right here, the atmospheric carbon, changes over that 100 years. So how we run the simulation is right here, run decade. So I'm going to click run decade 10 times. And while I'm running the decade, notice right here that this number is going to change by 10 years. So I'm going to run 10 decades of simulation. And you'll notice all the numbers on the right, all the places where the carbon is, are changing. One more year, and now we're at the year 2100. So we started with an atmospheric carbon, if you remember, of 700 gigatons. Now, if we keep increasing our burning of fossil fuels by the rate of 1.5, we predict that in the year 2100, we'll have about 1395 gigatons of carbon dioxide in the air, which is almost double of what we are right now. Essentially, that's how you run this lab. Once you finish with the simulations, you have 3 analysis questions that you can answer on the notes section on your lab.